Hello DragonCrafters, this is Warcraft from Dragon Productions and welcome to another video. This time I want to talk about early access and pre-orders and what are the benefits and disadvantages of each one. So let's start with early access. What is early access? It's a funding model in the computer game industry by which computers can pay for a game in the various development cycles like alpha, beta and so on and obtain access to the pre-full release version of the game, while the developer is able to use those funds that you pay in order to get the early access game to continue working on the game. So let's talk about it a bit further. That early access, is it good? Is it bad? There are, in both sides have their own opinions. Some are really strong, some are really, detailed about it. What's my take on this? Early access can be a really good thing. For example, there are some games, mostly indie games. I really don't think that any other title that is a AAA kind of title that is going to do that is a good way to get feedback from the community, right? Because a developer ultimately makes a game that wants to be good, wants to be great for their consumer. That's the gamer, that's us. So they will put up a game for early access. Now there's two things you can do that. Either they can pay in order to gain that early access, or they can do it for free for some time, like open alpha or open beta and all that. Now this is a really good way in order, again, to gain feedback. That's the most important thing. I think it's our fault that sometimes we take early access games as what are we going to see in the end of it? What's going to be the full release like? There's nothing like that. Absolutely nothing. When you buy an early access game, it means that the game will contain bugs. It's not complete by any kind of means. There are a lot of things that are missing. It's just a way, hey, is this good? Tell me what you think. What should we change? What can we do to make this better? Do you like the concept of the game? And so on. It's just to gain feedback. It has nothing to do with how the game will look. Has absolutely no... For example, let me give you a game that I'm recently playing. It's 7 Days to Die. It's still on its alpha, right? And that's kind of bad in some sense because it has been on the alpha for a long time now. At least I played the alpha version for a long time. Like, what the hell, dude? I really want to play this game more, and there are some things that should be fixed and all that. And I'm gonna give feedback once I played enough of the game itself. I'm gonna give feedback, right? One of the earliest games that did the early access is actually Minecraft. It was initially a browser-based game that the developer, developed alongside his full-time job. So he gave the alpha to the world. Right? Said, do you guys want this? And pay an amount of money, doesn't matter, to get to the game, see how the game it is, and once it's released, you're gonna get the full product. Right? So all this is just a way to gain feedback. That's what early access is about. The bad thing about early access now, let's get into the other thing. Because not everything is black and white, right? Not everything is good, not everything is bad, and that's it. There are some, gray areas in between. What's that mean? Some developers, they actually use the early access model in order to actually gain funding for the game itself, which can be a good thing if the game deserves to be, in early access and all that, and, should be full release, then yeah. But what can you do once you have early access and you just stop working on the game, or just like, yeah, just take this and I don't give a fuck? There's some developers that actually do this. They use the early access model in order to gain funds, some quick money, release a version of the game, and say, that's it. Sorry, that's what I want. That's what I want to give out. And they mostly don't listen to the feedback that they are getting. I get that, especially if you're a small indie developer or just a small team of people that are working on something that, you can't do everything by yourself. I mean, you don't have the right equipment, you don't have the experience, you don't have what the big studios have. and they have had for a long time now, right? I get that, but be specific. Once you make a game early access, you should be very specific about what are you going to offer, what is your vision of the game, what are you going to make, what is your final goal. So that's the early access overall. Let's go pre-order now. Now, pre-order, oh my god, okay. Again, it has two sides of the coin, there are two sides in this coin, and both sides have the good and the bad. The good, although it's not anymore, that it's just not there anymore. For pre-ordering, at some point it was because there was a limited number of distributed media, for example in video games or books or albums, music albums and all that. So that way you could get your copy without having to worry, will this thing that I want to buy, will it just get sold out before I actually get there to buy it? So pre-ordering makes sense then. However, pre-orders, it's just been used right nowadays from the developers and companies. It's just a way to gain an estimate of how good the game will sell, and basically let's get as much money as possible. Sometimes they offer things like a 10% discount in your pre-order, or they offer some other kind of DLC or cosmetics or anything that it's kind of an extra. Here's a good thing. Here's the thing that I want to point out though. Not all games are good, right? Even in long-term franchise, for example, let's take Call of Duty and Ghosts, right? Call of Duty is one of the most successful running video games franchises in our history of video games. But Ghost isn't that good. The Order 1886, again, it looked really good and like, oh my god, this is an amazing game, but it wasn't that. Let's get another example, which is one of the most important examples, right? One of the most, it was fucking amazing. No Man's Sky, right? No Man's Sky, when it launched, that was the most horrific game ever to be launched. The kind of bugs that were in, and it was nothing like they had, told you that the game would be about. There was a lot of bugs, and it was basically nothing. But the developers actually work on that game, and I think now it's actually a pretty decent game. Because, there are things to do that's more complete now, it's more complete. So, pre-orders, are they good, are they bad? Again, two sides of the coin. I think they are ultimately bad in the way they have turned out to be bad. Because there's no way in hell that you're not gonna find a game. Even if you don't find the retail version, you can always find the digital version. They will always be available. Always. As long as Steam exists, or the PlayStation Store, or any kind of the similar kind of things, you will always have access to the game in its digital form. And you can actually order, because they will continue to distribute games. But again, if they stop the physical, the retail version of a game, they will put it out in digital form, so you will always have access to it. So that's that about the pre-orders. Now, let's take them all together. Early access versus pre-order. Which of the two should you choose? Again, it depends on the occasion. It really depends on what are you going to do with that. But I think early access is something that you should go for if there is the option of the two. Early access, I think, is the best thing to go for. You will not see it in many games like AAA titles, because the companies that are behind the developers, they don't want the competition to have a look at it. They really don't want that. So said, I'm not gonna do that, because my competitor, they will see it, and they might take advantage of what I'm trying to do and do something else, or just take the whole machine, my whole idea, and just turn it into something else that is more successful and all that. So it makes sense. It makes sense because it's better to be the first one that comes through with the idea, and then someone else takes the idea and does something else with it. People will always know that this was first done in X game, not in Y game, and that's extremely important. So overall, early access, I think in my opinion, is better to go for if you have those two options. But again, I don't agree with any of those in particular because I just don't feel like it. I mean, do a crowdfunding. Early access for me is more, serious about it. Some of them at least, because it has turned out to be like a shitstorm, like I mentioned earlier. But I think it's the most, honorable thing to do from a developer, because say, hey, we want to make this game, here's what you can expect, here's what we envision to be in the end product, give us feedback to what you guys want and we will try to make it better. That's better than pre-ordering, because the way this thing has happened over the years, that pre-orders is basically, just give me your money on the game that you will already buy, and it'll just throw something that is absolutely of no use to you in terms of actual gameplay. For example, if you don't have that really cool looking costume for your character, it's not the end of the world, because that thing will be available at some point in the future for everyone else as well. So it's basically bragging rights, I got it first. Some remain, in the pre-order bonus, but again, companies will want to make more money. So if they see that the thing that they gave for the pre-order is kind of, everybody wants it, they will make it available. The discount now, it's not that much big of a deal. 10% discount, it's not that much of a big deal to just get the game. It doesn't explain why you should get that game. Don't make it wrong, if you can get something cheaper, then yeah, you should go for it, absolutely. But pre-ordering is not the way to go. It's absolutely not the way to go, because it's just not important discount enough in order to actually pre-order the game. It just doesn't go that way. So that was my take on the whole thing. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. I'm really interested in what you guys think. In this kind of videos that I do every Friday, I really want to get to know what you guys think. Let me let us do something with it. Let's take this ball and just roll it. Make our voice heard, I really want to hear what you guys think, and I want to make a part 2 of this video with your thoughts where we discuss about it. So leave in the comments below what you think, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one!